What's up, beautiful people? Listen, Daruma, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be checking this video, and it's titled Harry and Meghan's charity is not their top priority. Okay, then what is? This is interesting. I'm excited to check this one out to hear what they've got to say. Let's check it out.
Joining us now is royal commentator Josh Rom. Josh, great to speak with you. Let's talk about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, because they've spoken out after their charity, the Archewell Foundation, was declared delinquent in the US by the state of California. Now, despite the notice being issued by California's Attorney General for failing to pay bills on time and submitting its annual report, the couple insist that the charity was compliant. This is what they've had to say. Well, this is part of the statement from the Archewell Foundation. We have diligently investigated the situation and can confirm that the Archewell Foundation remains fully compliant and in good standing. Due payments were made promptly and in accordance with the IRS's processes and procedures. Furthermore, all necessary paperwork had been filed by the foundation without error or wrongdoing. Josh, what's happened here?
Yeah, so it's pretty much what you just said. And as well as their statement, the California Justice Department has also confirmed that the charity is in current and is currently in good standing as well. It's exactly what you said in the link. They blame it on a check, a physical check that was sent out that state officials did not receive. They also originally claimed that a second check was later sent out as well. And state officials have reportedly confirmed that there was a mishap now. The charity is no longer in that delinquent standing, that delinquent label. And this is either the accounts were missing or the renewal fees were missing. That was what the delinquency notice said. And if the state of California followed through with it, then the charity might not have been able to spend their funds, and they might be stopped from, I think the quote is, soliciting and dispersing charity funds, and its registration from California's registry of charities and fundraisers might have been either suspended or revoked. However, sources close to the couple have said it's a mishap. As you said, they have spoken out saying the charity is now in good standing. The California Justice Department has also said the charity is in good standing. So it appears all's well that ends well, but is it? Because I think what the kind of tonal message that has been received is, whilst Harry and Meghan have been living at large on this quasi-royal tour, going to Nigeria, Harry, of course, promoting the incredible cause that is the Invictus Games, Meghan promoting, well, herself, and saying Nigeria is my country, and, you know, both of them kind of grandstanding on this global platform for themselves. It does kind of set the tone. This notice does kind of set the tone, maybe, that the foundation may or may not be kind of not their top priority, and that maybe they may be more interested in grandstanding and showing off as being huge members with powerful influence, and yet they're somehow still connected to the royal family, and that they've still got their titles, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, on the global stage, in order to, you know, monetize that for the Netflix deal, bearing in mind the Spotify deal fell through. So I think what this tonally says, okay, legally, the charity is now in good standing, all's well that ends well. You know, they're keen to emphasize everything was filed on time, it was a mishap, but it does kind of suggest that maybe the charity may or may not be not their top priority.
That was my takeaway. Maybe they dropped the ball when it comes to their charity, because their focus appears to be, well, taking part in a royal tour that's not a royal tour. And of course, Meghan's busy launching her new lifestyle brand. But Harry and Meghan are back in California now after their tour in Nigeria, and they've told the publication People that they're feeling much better now than during their visit to Africa in 2019. Meghan said, "We're just doing great. happy to be watching our family grow up and evolve. And of course, I'm happy. We're really happy. Well, it is refreshing to hear them say this. I suppose it's a different tone than what we've heard over the past few years. What do you make of this royal tour that wasn't a royal tour, and what they're saying about it? Are Harry and Meghan's attitudes shifting?
Let me tell you why they are happy. They are happy simply because, well, I mean, I'm not in their minds, but I think they're happy because, surprise, surprise, they received good press from the tour. The Mail, the Daily Mail called it almost presidential, which is for the Mail in this country absolutely unheard of. So the fact is, the press were glowing about them. So of course they're going to be happy after that. You know, after South Africa, you know, when in the tour of Africa back in the day, there were reports of a fire in Archie's room and things going wrong, even though they actually received good press at the time. They weren't happy with the fact that the press were holding them to account. For example, Prince Harry's lecturing of climate change. Of course, he gets that from his father, who's very passionate about the environment, but one can't help but feel it's not necessarily, you know, the best thing to lecture the public on environmentalism when you're taking private jets here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
And Elton John coming out saying, well, it was a sustainable flight. Really, Elton? Love you, Elton. Love your music. Stick to the music, Elton. Thank you very much. But that's the thing. They couldn't handle the criticism. They didn't like the pressures of being in the institution. So of course they're going to be happy now, because this quasi-royal tour that wasn't a royal tour was all done on their own terms, in their own way, and they controlled who was there and who wasn't. I mean, the Mail's write-up actually was saying how it was almost presidential because they were being surrounded by Secret Service agents all muttering into their microphones, and Meghan had a slew of stylists and aides fluttering after her every move. So of course they're going to be happy with that sort of write-up and that sort of press, especially when they control who was there. They do it all on their own terms, not necessarily on the royal family's terms. They're doing what they want when they want, and they received a good write-up for it. So of course they're going to be happy with that. If they weren't happy, I think that would prove them to really be the most privileged, miserable people on earth. Or should I say, the most miserable, privileged people on earth.
Well, I think they've already proven to be that. So,
well, it's not surprising that Harry and Meghan are not prioritizing their charity, because I mean, let's look at it from one side, or from the obvious. They love every attention that they get, especially when they look good in the public eye. I mean, now they will have a shifted focus, because I mean, they want to be in the public eye, they want to be in good standing with lots of people, and they want to be likable. They want people to just talk more about them. So I mean, it is not even surprising that their unofficial royal tour from Nigeria, they are happy about it, because I mean, when they came to Nigeria, they got treated as royalties, which they don't want to be part of. But of course, now that they got treated that, they control the narrative, it's brand worthy, it's giving them like that sense of feel like, yeah, they are appreciated here, unlike other places that would not appreciate them. So it's just all about, so if when you look at it, it's just all about them, and they want it to be about them, and they want it in a way that they can control the narrative. So of course they would be happy. Like, come on, who wouldn't be happy when they go to some place and they get treated as royalty, or get treated like a king or a queen? We all would be happy. So I mean, I guess that is how they feel. But again, it is them, or it is Meghan and Harry. Meghan, for sure. Meghan is the kind of person that loves the public image, that loves to look good. She's almost like camera ready all the time. So that public image has to look good. And this is what they got from the Nigerian unofficial royal tour. And lots of people are actually talking about it, whether good or bad. And they are getting the attention they want. But this is interesting though. Let me know what your thoughts are regarding the Harry and Meghan's charity whatsoever. Do you know, are there any new information regarding it? I would really love you to share that. But yeah, let's go on.
Well, I think they've already proven to be that. So it's nice to hear that they're no longer complaining and whinging and rubbishing the royal family for now, of course. But let's move on to some more royal news, because the BBC has agreed to pay undisclosed damages to Princess Diana's former chauffeur, Stephen Davies, following a High Court case. Now, Mr Davies accused the BBC of making fabricated allegations that he leaked information before Princess Diana's famous interview with Martin Bashir. Josh, what more can you tell us about this?
Yes, so a document's been revealed that at the time of this interview in 1995, in order to procure the interview, Martin Bashir told both Princess Diana and Earl Spencer, the quote is, quote, Mr Davies feeds Today newspaper, change your chauffeur. Now, he says this was completely fabricated because he was working for Princess Diana in 1995 as her driver, as her chauffeur, and then he was fired without explanation in March of 1996. And he said that these fabricated and unfounded allegations and accusations are a real, quote, blot on his character, so to speak. I mean, the BBC has been in really hot water over this interview. We know that Martin Bashir forged records to kind of deceive Princess Diana, to kind of make out that those around her couldn't be trusted, that those around her may or may not have been leaking stuff to the press. So this is another member, close member of her household staff, who was part of her everyday life, who was accused at the time of leaking stuff to the press, and he thought maybe that's why he was fired without explanation in March of 1996. But now the BBC has, of course, been found to have almost covered this up, maybe, and the BBC have agreed to pay his legal costs plus an undisclosed compensation sum to him. They've apologized unreservedly. They've also admitted that the allegations were fabricated. They've admitted that the allegations were unfounded as well. They're keen to emphasize that they're a different corporation with different management now, that Martin Bashir no longer works for them in any capacity. And I think that the BBC are very keen to put this sorry saga to its end. Of course, Prince William has said that the interview should never be shown on television ever again. This was, of course, that infamous Panorama interview where Princess Diana said there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a little bit crowded there or thereabouts. And she also put doubts onto whether at the time Prince Charles, then Prince Charles, was suitable for the big job at hand. So I think this is once again the BBC being made to look quite foolish here for what went on at the time. I mean, even we know the Crown doesn't always get things right. In fact, they got a lot wrong. I previously spoke to Michael Cole for The Sun in a big explosive expose article where he said, you know, I put stuff to him. Did this happen? Did this happen? Did this happen? And he said time and time again, that's wrong. That's not the truth. That's an insult to the truth. This is an insult to Diana. The makers did not respect Diana. So we know the Crown doesn't get it right all the time, but even the Crown showed the BBC to be falsifying the situation at the time of that interview. So I think even that speaks volumes.
And Josh, King Charles has unveiled the first portrait of himself since his coronation. The large pink painting by artist Jonathan Yeo, which is more than 8 feet tall, is getting mixed reaction. It certainly divided our office here in Sydney. Josh, what do you think of it?
I can imagine. I think I've got mixed feelings about it, because I think as an artwork, it's beautiful, it's representative. He's dressed in the uniform of the Welsh Guards. That was, of course, he was made the regimental colonel for the Welsh Guards in 1975. He's got a sword in one hand, and then on his left shoulder, he has a butterfly landing, of course, symbolizing his love of nature, symbolizing his love of wildlife as well. Queen Camilla is said to be a fan. She was said to have stepped in during the last sitting where she commented to the artist supposedly, quote, "Yes, you've got him." I mean, the portrait shows His Majesty the King looking gentle. He's got a very kind face in the portrait, but he's also looking determined. Experts have said the kind of bold pinky reddish color is meant to kind of represent the environment warming up, supposed to represent climate change, and the king's face, kind but gentle, kind of representing his determination to combat that as well. So I think there's a lot of representation here, which is a good thing. And I think as an artwork, it's absolutely beautiful. As a state portrait, as an official portrait, though, it's a bit modern artish. I think it's a little bit progressive. I don't think it's what we necessarily expect of official portraits. I think compared to official portraits of Her Majesty the Queen, it kind of stands out like a sore thumb. Does it show that His Majesty wants to be a different kind of monarch? Yes, I think there is that representation in there that he's a new progressive monarch, and this painting is just one example of how the monarchy is adapting to the modern age. As an artwork, it's beautiful. I think it captures him in a really nice way, but as an official portrait, I think it's a bit progressive. Dare I say, there are kind of a bit woke representations in there. Listen, I think the monarchy, it's great that the monarchy adapts. I love King Charles wanting to be this progressive monarch. I love His Majesty King Charles wanting to be not just defender of the faith, but defender of all faiths, protecting religious freedom in this country, protecting minorities, emphasizing the inclusivity of the monarchy, saying that this is a monarchy for all, not just in the UK, but across the Commonwealth. Lovely painting. As a painting, fabulous. As a portrait, jury's out.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. It's certainly not what you expect from a portrait, but it is growing on me as an artwork. Josh Rom, it's so great to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining us again on Power Hour.
Thank you so much for having me. Can't wait to be back.
Interesting. I've got so many thoughts regarding regarding Princess Diana. I mean, I remember I was very little when Princess Diana was still alive, and lots of people had so many things to say. Although I heard quite nice things about her, and she was likable. Lots of people loved her. But now hearing this is like some people do have mixed feelings, and I get that not everybody would like the royal family. And I always say this, that regardless, let's also remember that they are human beings first. Means the fact that people would have their thoughts and their whatever they feel regarding the royal family. Sometimes some people just want to spread some information that may or may not be true about the royal family. But let me know what your thoughts are about Princess Diana and what this is about, because I mean, there are so many things or so many stories that are popping up, and it seems like after her passing, people had different thoughts regarding her, about her. Even those even though there are lots more people who still like her, there are some people who still they have their thoughts about it as well. But let's talk about the painting. I always be like, when I saw the painting, I was confused at first, but then I looked deeper and I understood like the message. Although I had like mixed feelings regardless, but I always want to believe that whatever the royal family portrays or whatever they present to us is well thought through, and they will not just want to present to us anything that did not think thoroughly about. But again, I understand not everybody is going to like the portrait, but as long as the royal family loves it, then who are we to question it? That's all I'm just gonna say. But let me know what your thoughts are regarding this. I'm sure tons of people have interesting things to share. I really love you to share that. You can share the useful information you think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.